Hey Lawrence, what are you up to?
Just getting ready to eat. Hey, do you remember getting Caesar haircuts?
Oh, yeah. I used to sport one myself.
Really? So you had a style that went back to Julius Caesar?
Yeah, I guess you could say that. Why'd you ask?
Well, I was looking up some info on Caesar when the haircut had came to mind. And then I saw the names Caesar was a Roman family name that became a title for all the Roman emperors.
Yeah, that's true. You know, I always thought Caesar was the title, but like you said, it was actually the name of the family. So all of the Caesars that came out of that line, they all sported or had the last name Caesar. Just like we kind of identify Kennedys with politics. It was very similar. But did you know that Caesar or a form of Caesar is still used today?
You mean like Little Caesar's Pizza?
Well, that's a good example. Actually, during World War I, the Kaiser of Germany and the Tsar of Russia, they were given governmental authority. They were like Caesars in their own countries, and they actually took their nations to war. So Caesars or the Tsar or the Kaiser was still being used up until the last century.
Just like the drug czar in this country?
Yeah, that's another good example. So years ago, the president created a position of drug czar. So it was basically a drug Caesar, so to speak. He had that governmental authority. But did you know that even though they have been given this authority, Jesus Christ still admonishes us to keep these Caesar's authority in perspective. A good scripture, and I know you know it, I'd like to read it though, is Matthew 22, 17 through 31.
Okay.
And it says there, "Tell us then, why do you think it is unlawful to pay head tax to Caesar or not?" But Jesus, knowing their wickedness, said, "Why do you put me to the test, hypocrites? Show me the tax coin." So they brought him a denarius. He said to them, "Whose image and inscription is this?" They said, "Caesar's." Then he said to them, "Pay back therefore Caesar's things to Caesar, but God's things to God."
Oh, okay. So that's a good reminder that we submit to the authority or to Caesar when it doesn't interfere with Jehovah's authority.
Right. So the Jews didn't like the fact that the money that they were giving to the government was supporting Caesar. And in turn, the government was using that money, so they felt, to suppress them. But it did help to pay for the roads. It gave them aqueducts so that the water could get to them. And it supported the Roman army. Even though they hated them, it kept other nations from invading them. So we may not like paying taxes or submitting to Caesar's authority at times, but as Christians, we do demonstrate our obedience to Jehovah by submitting, as long as it doesn't go against his will. You know, with the things that have been happening recently in the world, we can see that conditions are really getting bad. There may come a time when we will have to publicly choose whose side we're on. It may require taking an oath to Caesar to maybe get a job, maybe to go to school, maybe even to get an apartment, maybe even to get some type of governmental assistance might require an oath to Caesar. You know, it reminded me of what happened in Nazi Germany, where the Germans people had to do the Heil Hitler to Adolf Hitler and to everyone in order to be worthy of any type of privileges within society. But that was the equivalent of saying that that Hitler can give me salvation, or Caesar can give me salvation.
Hey, that reminds me of Romans 13:1. Let's turn there, and I'll read that.
Okay.
So that was Romans 13:1.
Okay.
And it reads, "Let every person be in subjection to the superior authorities, for there is no authority except by God. The existing authorities stand placed in their relative positions by God."
Okay, good. Yeah, that's a good scripture. It's just a good reminder that his disciples, Jesus' disciples then and now, were not to lose respect for the government or for Caesar, but they needed to stay loyal to his Father and continue to do his will, no matter what we might be facing.
So I think that that's a good lesson for all of us today.
Yeah, that is a good lesson. You know what? I'm getting hungry. How about we get some of that pizza?
Sounds good.